3.5 years is an eternity when waiting for the image editor of your dreams. But the wait is over now. Brought to you by Gamefly. Hey, I'm Nixie Pixel and you're watching OS Alt, your source for open source. So I tried to use Gimp for everything I did in the graphical world, but there was always something that I had to resort back to proprietary software for. So is Gimp 2.8 worth the wait? Let's find out. Headed over to the download section of the Gimp website to show you all the installation instructions for the other Linux distros, as well as a Windows installer. Installing the latest version for Windows is easy, and just a bit less so for Linux, and you won't find Gimp 2.8 available for Mac on the main Gimp site. However, an awesome community member from Gimp Users Forum has created a way for 2.8 to work with Mac OS X. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm working in Ubuntu and Gimp 2.8 hasn't hit the repositories yet, so you cannot just apt-get install it. The Gimp downloads page somehow neglected to mention this little tidbit, so what you're seeing now is the PPA you need for the new Gimp. And we're having a quick flashback to the old Gimp style. You can see there's a very clear distinction between windows. 2.6, the big pet peeve with everyone was that you couldn't seamlessly switch between each window you were working on. Flash forward to 2.8 and with one click of a checkmark you get that single windowed look that everyone's been waiting for Gimp to implement. Sexy, huh? Another instantly alluring thing is the sliders they've put into the tools. It really makes for a more intuitive interface. Now maybe you're used to photoshopping away tiredness or the occasional pimple. I would never do that. Or let's just say you're prone to doing the same thing almost every time you open a graphic editor. You can customize your toolbox, choosing to prioritize and display only what tools you use most. Then tag brushes and patterns with a common keyword so you can find it easily next time. Still hanging on to better organization, the layer modes have been resorted so they're shown by category and not all jumbled up together. Layers aren't borked either like they kinda were in previous versions. They're now all together and easy to manipulate. Oh, Gimp 2.8 also offers the ability to group layers. This is fantastic when you have an image with tons of layers because then you know which layer goes with what. It's really useful if you're a website designer or a graphical artiste. Speaking of artists, freehanding and painting have never been more possible. You can customize your brush angles, rotating and spinning them around to your liking. The brush outlines also show now so you can imagine where your brush would go. I've heard reports about how drawing tablets are being used and how great that's working out for the advanced Gimp user. But if advanced doesn't really describe you with photo editing, have no fear. You can also make memes with the best of them. A nice change from the old Gimp is that you can edit text within the canvas instead of having an awkward text box like before. Also in keeping with most high-end editors, there's an export function, where you'll be choosing the file type, quality, and so on to export into an image file. Export pretty much replaces the need to save as. I love how the curves utility exists now, better brush control, and how layers are now bearable to look at. These in particular are aspects of graphical editing that I really longed for when I wasn't using Photoshop, so I'm super stoked to see them in 2.8. After waiting a long time for this image editor to come out, I think that I've built pretty high expectations over time for this program. Gimp 2.8 meets those expectations and exceeds way beyond. I mean, I'm going to ditch the proprietary software that I've been using like Photoshop, which I totally legitimately acquired. I'll for sure be using the new and improved Gimp for all my future llama editing needs. What do you guys use graphic editors for? Are you an artiste and like to paint, or do you guys just do retouching? Different strokes for different folks. Strokes. Thanks for watching OS Alt. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next Friday's episode of All Things Open Source. And now a word from our sponsors and Penguin. Play all the games as well as 7,000 other new and classic titles on both console and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as you like, or until you get carpal tunnel. You know the drill. Once you're done blistering your thumbs on one game, just send it back and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really can't stop button mashing in Soul Calibur, simply click Keep It on the Gamefly website and the game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. And of course, Gamefly has no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. And if you're a fan of OS Alt, I'm a fan of giving you a 15-day free trial when you go to www.gamefly.com/OSAlt.